Yeah, so Simon knows a little bit. So when I was 6, I had a major trauma. I was held up in an armed robbery with my family. And I think London, in London. And yeah, it was at the time, we lived in a time back then, only 20 years ago, clearly. We lived in a time back then where talking about this kind of stuff wasn't really accepted, and it wasn't the done thing, it wasn't the norm. So the following day after it happened, it was kind of like, not intentionally, but it was just brushed under the carpet and everyone just carried on like it had never happened. And your body naturally goes into fight or flight when something like that happens. And it then tries to protect you in only the ways that it knows best to make sure that that trauma doesn't happen again. When you're an adult, if you have a trauma, you know, something like that, heaven forbid, or you lose somebody, because that could be as traumatic on the physical body and on the mind. When you have a trauma, you already know who you are as a person at that point. Yeah. So you know your boundaries, you know your personality. So if there are changes that you can notice, you will know, actually, that's as a result of that. I can go off and get therapy or whatever I need to do to deal with it. But when you're so young, my brother was only 8 as well. When you're so young, those boundaries aren't there.
No, not at all.
At all. And you don't know who you are. You just get up every day and play, right? At 6. Everything, you know, everything's amazing. So it didn't come to fruition probably until into my 30s that I started noticing certain elements of my personality where I was like, oh, why do I do that?
Yeah.
You know, so if I had an argument with my partner or one of my kids or a family member, my brain would literally shut down.
Right.
You could be, a bomb could go off literally around me and I could just sit there and it would not filter at all.
Wow.
And that's not normal behaviour. To me, it was. To me, that was perfectly normal. So as I got older and I learnt a little bit more about the world and I had my own boundaries, I realised actually there's elements of that weren't normal. And then I went on a bit of a self-discovery path, I guess. And that led me, I started doing a lot of meditation work to the point where I was maybe doing 5 sessions a week at home privately. And really kind of grounding myself and getting myself really centered so that I could make some key changes within me as a person, without it really affecting my personality and how I presented myself to the world. And that led me to sound baths, because I then started going, okay, well, I'm doing it at home on my own. It'd be quite nice to meet other people that are doing it and mix in that community and